Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Happy Monday. I hope that your day is awesome, whether it just started. I hope that the rest of the day is going to be absolutely fantastic, or if your day has already started and it's been kind of rough, as I say every single time, I just hope that you will find a moment in the day, a couple 5 minutes that you can call your own, that everything can be okay, you can feel at peace with what's going on and know that you will be able to make it through and that tomorrow will be a better day and every day is a new start. And so I just hope that you continue to stay positive and happy in that regard. But again, happy Monday. I hope that you had a great weekend. If you're anything like me right now during this time period, it feels like all the days blend together. So even though the weekend is a little bit more freeing because I'm not working, I'm not sitting at my desk for 8 hours, just, answering the phone, doing work on my computer. It's a little bit more freeing on the weekends, but I still feel like the days blend together. So if anyone else is feeling that way, yes, I feel you. I get it. But this week, we are going to be talking about having a fear of success. And the reason that I decided to do this topic is because I was talking to my counselor last week, and we were having a discussion about how I am afraid to really put myself out there. I even surprised myself that I actually started recording these podcasts, actually started posting them and being okay with that because it's a dream that I've had for a long time. And I'm really proud of it and I'm really excited. And despite how many people are listening, it doesn't matter. I know that, if I'm reaching at least one person, it's totally worth it. And it's an ability for me to get my thoughts and feelings and the research that I do out there so that I can help someone or just be beneficial to someone. But we were talking about how I personally, and I believe this, have a fear of success because there are so many things that I have held off doing that I'm waiting on for no reason at all whatsoever. And one of those things is creating YouTube videos. And, I was on the cusp of maybe being able to do that today, but then I kind of shied out, but maybe I'll change my mind later. I don't know. I want to do that because I want to be able to create mental health content online in a video form, and because I know that would be helpful, and especially during this time right now where everyone needs encouragement and people's mental health is spiking a little bit more than normal because of having to be quarantined and self-isolation. And I just think it would be beneficial. But again, back to what I'm saying, fear of success. I have this fear of success because I'm afraid of what people will think and what people will say, and just being out there and being kind of feeling more exposed, even though I'm not saying I would be super popular or anything by that means. I do want to be popular, but only for the sake of being able to reach as many people as possible to help them. But beyond that, I don't need to be in the spotlight all the time at all whatsoever. And so, and it's part of that. That's part of the reason why I have a fear of success. So anyway, she was like, oh my gosh, maybe that's something that you should think about talking about. And I was like, you're absolutely right. So that is what we're going to talk about this week, fear of success. And so I know for a fact there are people out there that also struggle with this. So I think it should be helpful. So today, Monday, after that really long introduction to what we're going to be talking about this week, today, Monday, we're going to talk about how to identify if you have a fear of success and to write down what you fear. So let's just jump right in. Ways to know you are afraid of success. You leave projects unfinished, you never stick to plans, you can't make up your mind, you're never pursuing your plans, you're going in circles, and you're never making change. And I identify with every single one of these, unfortunately, because I love starting new projects and, and planning it out and being feeling like I'm ready to take that on and, seeing it from beginning to middle to end. But I'll leave it unfinished because even if I hit 99% of that project and get everything done. It's like leaving that 1%, procrastinating on purpose, and just not even procrastinating, just not even finishing it because of the fear of like, what's that going to look like when it's done? Am I actually going to be able to see it as a success? I also have the fear that I will have wasted my time, which is another reason why I personally put things off that I've dreamt of doing for years, because I'm like, well, what if it was a waste of time? What if everyone hates it? What if it turns out that I'm really bad at it? And those are all insecurities that I encourage you and myself to move past, because a lot of times we won't learn new things, or we won't learn from experiences if we actually don't go through with those experiences. So, and never sticking to plans. When you make plans, you make these grand plans, even if you write them down, but you never stick to them, you never like move forward with them, you can't make up your mind. That's definitely a problem with me in the aspect of doing what I want to do. Like, for example, I am definitely experiencing that a lot with my videos, because I'm literally, anyone that I talk to about it, which is like maybe like 3 people at this point, because I'm afraid to tell people, but it's in my heart to do it so strongly. It's so weird to be on both sides of that chasm, but I can't make up my mind exactly what kind of videos that I want to do. I know I want them to be helpful and beneficial, but I'm afraid that whatever I do will be stupid and no one will like it and won't be beneficial. And I can't make up my mind how to, like, what route to go in that. And so again, never pursuing your plans, going in circles, never making a change. So these are all ways. So if you are thinking like, oh no, I don't have a fear of success, or I'm not even sure, or it's not something I've thought about, if you find that you identify with any of these things, you might definitely have a fear of success. And you might not even realize that you have a fear of success until you take some time to really evaluate how you're feeling and what's going on. I feel like most of the time we don't realize that we are able to categorize what's going on in our lives until we take, some time to really think about what's going on, process the feelings that we're having, the emotions that we're going through, the actions that we perform in our life, and how we do things. I feel like if we take a little bit more time to have more self-insight, we would know a lot more about ourselves and how to guide ourselves to have a bigger, brighter future and to achieve the things that we've always wanted to do. And it could actually be a fear of failure that is pushing your fear of success. Because for me, I know that I did start a YouTube channel for mental health, 2 years ago maybe. And I did a few videos, and it's not as though I was expecting it to blow up, but I felt so insecure, and I felt like when I watched them back, they were super boring, and I kind of felt like that whole thing failed, so I stepped away from it for the longest time. And that's another reason why I don't want to step back into that, even though I have fresh ideas, and I actually am in some online courses to learn how to create content and do those kind of things so that I can be better and serve the community that I want to serve better. But I'm afraid of failing, and I don't want to fail, because I feel like I've failed so many times in my life that it can be so exhausting and so damaging to your ego, and even just to your pride, and just even wanting to exercise any sort of effort to do it, because you just assume that it's always going to turn out terrible, because so many things in your life may have turned out terrible. And that's kind of how I function, which is a problem. It's something I am focusing really hard to get past. Also, change your mindset of thinking of failures as just mistakes. It's less jarring and negative and more forgiving. So, instead of being like, oh, I'm such a failure, just tell yourself, and others, if you have people in your life that also struggle with a fear of failure, that those are just mistakes. And, mistake can also seem like semi-harsh word. I find it to be way less harsh than failure. And if you don't already, you should get into the practice of thinking of mistakes as learning opportunities, learning experiences, because everyone makes mistakes, and that's definitely a phrase that we hear all the time. Everyone makes mistakes, and it's okay. So it should make you feel more okay with making mistakes, not quite hitting it on the head every single time. Not everyone's going to do that. Also, living your life to be a perfectionist is is not a winning battle ever. 10 out of 10 times you always lose in the end, despite how you may feel in the middle of it, in the thick of it. So I would just encourage you to, if you do have a fear of failure, start thinking of failure as actual mistakes, and it'll be easy for you to move past those. Learn something from it, move past it, and try again. Mistakes provide feedback and learning opportunities every single time. And you might not think that, but if you actually take some time and, hindsight is 2020, that's how I feel. But also, if you take some time to break down the mistake that you made, if you actually take time to analyze it, but not to a point where you're obsessing about it, there is that thin line of analyzing things and using them to your benefit for the future and then obsessing about it. So you want to be able to find that happy medium of like, okay, this is what went wrong. This is how I can fix it in the future. Do I need to have someone else step in and help me figure out what is the best way to go about this? And did I do this, that, and the other to prepare for this thing? Was I cognizant of all these things, as opposed to being like, oh my gosh, I did this terrible. Oh my gosh, I should have done this. And we come up with like 20 different plans to do it better. Like, you don't want to obsess about it, because obsessing is just worry and anxiety and stress. And you're adding something into your life that you do not need, because if you're anything like me, you already have enough of that, and so you're trying to actually pull that out of your life, not add more in. So I encourage you, make sure that you're analyzing to a point of problem solving and helping yourself and not obsessing about the whole thing. But yeah, you can get so much feedback and learning opportunities, especially if you feel comfortable enlisting someone from the outside of your mind, which would be anyone, someone that you trust. They can give you feedback if they were there to witness whatever mistake it was that happened. You will have to accept the fact that if you achieve your dreams, you may stand out, people may talk about you, and your life may change for the good or bad. So, and when I say bad, I don't mean that everything that changes in your life will be bad. There's definitely going to be some ups and downs, because that's just how life is. Life isn't good all the time. It's not bad all the time. It's just there are these peaks and valleys that we all go through. But if you do achieve your dreams, and this is something that I'm telling myself a lot lately, like a lot, because I'm really trying to use my time wisely, create content, try to help people as much as I can, because that is my life's dream goal. I truly believe that is what I'm here on the planet to do. So you will have to accept it. You will have to accept that if you do achieve those dreams, you may stand out. And most likely that's going to be for a good reason. And people may talk about you, and that could be good or bad. But people are going to do that anyway, whether you decide to achieve your dreams or not, because there's always people out there gossiping, causing trouble, being dramatic. You know what I mean. And your life may change, and it might change for the good, like where you're happier because you achieved your dreams, or it might become more difficult because what you decided to do is a little bit harder space to navigate in, or some people may not accept you at first. But you got to give it time, and you just got to keep pursuing what you know in your heart is the best thing. So let me just wrap it up here. Again, I would go through that list again to determine whether you do have a fear of success. It'll really help you identify that. If you already know that you do, great. Spend some time writing down your fears. Oh, I just realized now I didn't point that out. Write down your fears. Really think about the things that are preventing you from actually just starting. What is preventing you from actually just jumping in and doing and starting and beginning the thing that you've always wanted to do, whether it's big, small, middle, whatever it is. Like for me, for my YouTube videos, the things that I'm afraid of is judgment and it not helping anyone and not making a difference. And that's about it. That's my short list. So think about it. I would spend more time than 30 seconds of what I just did, but it's because I've spent so much time thinking about it that I can just pop it up top of my head. But if you haven't spent any time thinking about it and you don't have a list that just immediately comes to mind, I would say spend at least 15 minutes really thinking about it, writing a list, and then condensing that list into 3 to 5 things so that you're able to know what you need to work on and be able to move past. So Thanks again for joining me for the Real Positive Girl podcast. I really hope that this episode has helped you. And if you find that there's someone in your life that might benefit from this, please, I encourage you to share it wherever, however you can. Also, I encourage you to come join me on Instagram. You can come join me on my purely motivational page where I just post, right now I just post like an inspirational quote every day. That's Real Positive Girl. Or if you want to come to my main page where it's just my main, everyday normal personal life page, which is at Sabrina Joy Perozzo, and those handles will be in the description box along with some notes for today's episode. So have a great week. Happy Monday. Thanks again for joining me for the podcast, and I hope that you have a good one. See you next time. Bye.